Welcome back to our WordPress tutorial series put on by the UCF College of Sciences Web Department. Please note that this tutorial covers WordPress 3.9 in versions that appear and function in a similar fashion. You can check out the menu on the right where you can click to view the full video series playlist. You can click to view the previous video or the next video in the series. In this video, we will cover posts, categories, and related information. If you want to jump ahead to any one of these areas, please feel free to use the menu below. Alright, so let's begin. As you can see, we have two tabs open on our browser, and the first one is the front-end version of the WordPress site we've been working on. We also have the second tab, which is our WordPress dashboard. Let's go ahead and jump to the posts section. And when we click on posts, you'll notice that it'll automatically pull up the all posts page. This will give us an overview page where we can see all the posts we have. And let's go ahead and talk about the different features of this page. So up top here we have add new, and something you'll notice in WordPress, there's usually a couple different ways you can do things. So we can add new posts by clicking on add new here. We can also click on add new in the menu on the left. We can also go up to the WordPress admin toolbar, go to new, and there's also a new post there as well. And then below that, we have some of our status filters. So right now it defaults to all. So this is all the different posts we have, independent of the different types. So this is going to show all the published, all the drafts, the pendings, the privates, and the ones that have been trashed as well. We can filter those down to just those specific ones if we wanted. We can click on published, and that'll show all the active posts that have been pushed live on our website. We can click on draft. That'll be all the ones that we're currently working on but haven't pushed live. This is great if you're working on a post and you don't have all the content, or you just need to make some fine-tune adjustments before making it live. We have pending, which is similar to draft, except the only difference really is just you're marking it as something different. So if you have a couple different users on your site and someone has more privileges than someone else, you can mark it as pending, and then a person who has more privileges can come back and be like, know that they need to review that before pushing it live. We also have private. What private means is that it's pushed live, but it's only viewable to people who have user accounts on your site. Since most of the time you're going to be using WordPress as a content management system that's front-facing only, you probably won't have user accounts aside from the people who make changes to the website. So marking posts as private would not be a good idea. But the option is available if you do want to open up your site to have public registration or something like that. And then a good thing with WordPress is that it does have a trash can system for posts, pages, and some of the other different items. Specifically, if I hovered over one of these posts here, you can see there's a trash button. If I click trash, that is going to send it to the trash, as it says up here. So now if I click on the trash filter, these are all the posts in my trash can, and from here I can either restore it or I can permanently delete it. So let me go ahead and restore this one. Now if I go back to my all, there we go, it's right back. Then below that we have some other filters and other options here. You'll notice that next to each one of these post listings there's a checkbox, and what this will allow us to do is to do some bulk actions. There's actually only two actions available by default, and that is either to edit or to move to trash. Just a word on edit, that's not going to be the full-blown WordPress editor. What it's going to be is kind of a slimmed down version of what you can do. So if you wanted to change the title or category, or make a couple go from published to draft or something like that, you would do that using this edit. Next to that, we can narrow down the posts that are shown by the date they were published or the date they were created, if they're still in draft or pending or one of those other statuses. And then we also have, we can narrow it down by the category associated with the post as well. So we would select one of these, say for instance April, and then click filter. And then once the page reloads, it'll show us all the ones from April of 2014. So let me go ahead and put that back to all dates, and we'll go back to this listing. Over here on the right, we have a very useful search field. And what this will do is, obviously it'll let you search your post, but it'll do two things. It'll search the title for you, and it'll also search the body of the post, just in case your search criteria is found within the body and not necessarily the title, which can come in handy. Below that, we have two more filters that will kind of give us some view options here. So the default one is this one on the left, and that gives us kind of a narrowed down view with just the title and then some of the other information here. This one on the right is a little bit more expanded, so if I clicked on that, it's going to give me some more information. More accurately, it'll give me a little bit of the post content. So if I wanted to see a little bit more there, maybe a couple of sentences of what's actually in the post, I can go ahead and use this view. Go ahead and put it back to the original one. And then above that, up here, we have screen options and help. These two will change depending on the area that you're at. So right now, if I click on screen options, it's going to show me some options that are associated with posts, and more precisely, what is shown on the screen for this all posts page. So right now, this controls the different columns that are viewable. So if I wanted to streamline this or make it more unique for me, say I'm not using tags and I really don't care about those. Well, if I uncheck this box, you'll notice in a second that this tags column will disappear. And so if I'm not using comments on our site or something like that, I could turn comments off. And now it's just down to these 4 different columns. Below that, you can actually change the number of posts that are going to show up on this all post page before you have to hit a pagination button to go to the next set and then the next set after that. So right now it's set to 20 by default. If I wanted to change that to 5, I could just hit apply, and then now it's going to show me 5 at a time before I have to click next and go to the next page. So if you're on a smaller screen or something like that, you could possibly change this and it might be a little bit more useful for you. Go ahead and put that back to the default, which was 20. Okay, so next to screen options, we have help. And so when I click on help in the all post section, it's going to give me some information relevant to that. So I have overview, the different types of screen content, available actions. And the available actions are what will show up if I just hover over a post title here. So I have edit, quick edit, trash, and preview. And go over those bulk options again, as I mentioned before. And then this one actually has a theme specific, so it's showing you some information associated with the 2014 theme, which is the theme that we're currently using on our site. And then over here on the right, we have some more information on the WordPress.org website and also the WordPress support forums. If you ever run into an issue, check out the forums or just Google WordPress and whatever the issue you're having is. A really good thing about WordPress is the community is really big and generally really nice, and it's usually really easy to find stuff. Okay, so that's most of the information on the all post page. As I mentioned just a second ago, if you want to see those extra options, just hover over the post title or over the box here, and it'll give you edit, quick edit, trash, and view. If you wanted to edit a post, you can click on edit or click on the title itself. But before we go to that, I'm going to show you what the quick edit options are. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And here we can change a few things. We don't have the ability to change what's actually in the post, but we can change some of the more basic things. So we can change the title. We can change the slug. That's also known as the permalink. This has to do with the address of the post. So in this case, the address of the post would be future post. So it would be our website name up here / future - post, which would load that post for us. The reason you can change these independently is if you wanted to make the slug shorter. So say you had a really long title, and you'll notice after making a couple posts that your slug is going to be automatically created based on your title. It's just going to remove any special characters or spaces and generally replace those with dashes. But if you had a really long title and you wanted your slug or your permalink to be shorter, you could just go ahead and adjust that here. So if I just wanted to change this to future, I could just remove that part out, hit update, And then now when I go to that page, it's just going to show future as the slug. I can also quickly edit the date and time this was published. If I change this to a future date and time, then that would change this from published to scheduled, as it will not go live yet. This is a great feature if you're wanting to have posts, if you want to work ahead, not procrastinate, and have a bunch of posts scheduled to go out at certain dates and times. You can set that up here. If you wanted to password protect a page, you could define that page specific password here. You can go ahead and mark it private as well. You can check the different categories associated with this post. You can add different tags. You can turn on comments individually or allow pings individually, and you can change the status as well. We also have this make this post sticky section, and what that'll do is if you're on a category page or if you have your home page set up to show a list of the most recent posts, if you mark one sticky, that's going to tell it, hey, put this one at the top of the page, or hey, have this one be at the top of all the pages. So hence the sticky. So if you go to another page, or if it's a post from months ago or it's technically old, but you still want it to be prominent on your home page or category page, you would want to go ahead and mark that as sticky. And then the other options are just trash and view. If I clicked on view, that's just going to pop up the front end version of this post. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to this. So let me go ahead and go back to the page we were just on. And we're going to click on edit. And this is going to bring up the full WordPress editor. We're going to do a specific video for all the different features that you can do with the WordPress editor. So that'll be coming up, but I'm just going to go through the basics of this page just to give you a general idea and get you comfortable with doing some of the basic stuff with editing or creating a post. You might want to notice, or you'll notice, that the edit post and add new post page are very similar. So let me go ahead. This is the edit post. If I pop open add new, as you can see, pretty close as far as different things up here and the different things on the right. The only thing that's missing right off the bat is there is no spot for permalink or slug. See, that's been added in there. And once again, if I started typing, this would automatically create it for me after a few seconds when WordPress does its first auto draft save. As you can see here, this was really nice and it saved a draft for me. And then it automatically generated the permalink of what it will be if I hit publish. So once again, this will give you an opportunity to either lengthen or shorten or possibly rename your page permalink if you don't want it to match up to the title. Go ahead and close out our add new and just focus on our edit post. And as you can see here, WordPress is keeping tabs on me, but in a nice way, not in a creepy way. I made some changes to this page and it's just letting me know, hey, you're gonna leave and these changes will be lost. So do you want to stay or do you want to go? I'm gonna go ahead and leave, and we don't want to worry about that because I didn't want to make those changes permanent. So now we have our title up top, we have our permalink, we have our add media button that would let me insert an image or an image gallery. It would also let me insert a link to a document like a PDF or a Word document or PowerPoint or something like that if we wanted. Below that, we have the WordPress editor. Right now, these icons correspond to the visual tab. So over here on the right, we have two different tabs. We have the visual and the text. Just real quick, if you're ever editing a page or something like that and you notice that there's a lot of code here, like HTML code or CSS or something like that, it looks a little confusing, looks a little daunting, chances are you might be in the text tab and not the visual tab. So the visual will be that nice what you see is what you get kind of Microsoft Office sort of interface that is a little bit easier to use and more user friendly. We have a couple rows of icons here, and those correspond to some very common different things that you can do. If you wanted to make bold, italic, change the font size maybe to a heading. You can make something a link here. You can do some indenting, add some special characters. Don't worry, once again, like I mentioned, we're going to go into great detail about the WordPress editor in a different video. So here you could just either copy and paste, or just type out all the different things that you wanted. And then when you're ready to commit those changes, you can come over here to our Publish Options window. And this window and many of the other windows here on the right are collapsible and expandable. So if you ever, load up a page and you're missing some options, just make sure that it is expanded. So up at the top here we have preview changes. So if I click to that, that'll give me a rough estimate of what they would look like before actually committing them. It may not be 100% just because there's some things that WordPress will do right before the page is loaded once it's pushed and published live to your website that it may not do on the preview. But if I went ahead and click this, it's going to open a new window or a new tab, as you can see here, and show me what this post is going to look like. Since I haven't really made any changes yet, it didn't show me any difference. But if I go back here to the editor and now I click preview changes, you notice it didn't pop open a new window. It went and looked in my browser to see if that window it made a minute ago was already open, which it still is. So it just went ahead and refreshed here, and you can see those changes I made have appeared right there. If I want to commit those changes, I can go ahead and hit the update button. If we were creating a new post, this would just say publish instead of update. And depending on some of these other publishing options, this can change as well. So let's go over some of those other publishing options. So first of all, we have status, which right now is published because we've already made pushed this live once before. I can quickly change this to pending review or draft, which is if I don't want it to go live, but I still want to continue working on it or want to work ahead, I can make that change. I can also change the visibility from public, which is the default, to public and sticky, which means, like I mentioned, it'll go to the top of that post page or the category page or the home page, depending on how you have your page, your site set up. We can make this password protected, which is a one-time password specifically for this post, or I can make it private, which would make it only available to those people who have user accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as public. And then I have my publishing options of I can set a specific date and time. This one was originally published a few days ago on the 10th. If I wanted to change that, maybe I wanted to tell my users, actually we put this up on the 5th. You can kind of cheat and do that. Or if you wanted to go at a future date, say the 15th, now if I hit OK, this is going to change from update to schedule. So now that if I hit schedule, this is going to go live automatically at this designated time for me. So this is great, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to work ahead. You also don't have to worry about logging into the website on a weekend or after hours or something like that. Say you publish all your articles 12:01 Eastern Standard or something like that. You can set these, you can schedule these without having to wake up and make those changes. We can also say we were just frustrated and we're like, I don't like this page anymore. We could put it in the trash can if we wanted. Below this, we have formatting options. This is going to be dependent on your theme. This is just a way you can tell your theme what type of post this is. Most of the time, you're going to leave this as standard, so you can leave that there. Some of these other types are pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go ahead and skip over that and go down to categories. Categories are just a way that you can, designate and organize, the different posts you have on your site. So this will be a list under all categories. It does have another tab here for the most used. And you can select multiple categories if you want. You're not pigeonholing yourself into putting this post into one area. Say it covers a wide spectrum of different things. You can put those in those different categories for you. And you can easily add a new category by just clicking on Add New Category. And you could type that out here. And you can also assign it a parent category. For instance, if we wanted to make a sub-category 2, we could type that out and then choose its parent as either new category 2 or subcategory 2. And then just click on Add New Category. Below that, we have featured image, which is a feature that's going to be dependent on your theme, Most themes will use featured images, and what that's going to mean is on your site. So if I go ahead and choose one, we'll do this as an example here. I'll use this poster image. I'll click set as featured image, and now this is going to be our featured image. So let me go ahead and change this back so this will be published live, so we don't have to worry about that. So this says update now. We'll hit update, and then I'll go ahead and click on view post, which can either be done in the admin bar, it can be done right here in this success message after I've updated, or it can also be done here on view post. So the featured image in this theme is going to add whatever that image is up here in this layout above the actual body of the content. In some themes, it might just be a small thumbnail image next to the content itself. So just consult your theme, and you'll be able to easily tell, what the different featured image options will be for your theme. And one little thing to note, we can turn back on. I think by default, tags are on. So if I enable that in the screen options up here, this will show the tags area. This is another way you can kind of, it's similar to categorizing, but it's just a real quick way you can associate different keywords with posts. So if we're, let's say a food blog or something, say we wanted to, this was an article about pizza or something, so we had maybe a category for Italian food. We could mark that category up here, and we could tag it with maybe different ingredients. So maybe we didn't want to list the pizza under 10 different ingredient categories, but we wanted to add those down here as tags. We could tag that as pepperoni, cheese, anchovies, whatever. And so that's just another way of you can kind of categorize or just associate with other posts in your website. So that's editing a post, and like I mentioned earlier, that's the very similar way in screen you'll see for adding a new one. Another tab over here we have is categories. This will load up all the different categories we have here. This is the official way to add new categories to your site. You would give your category a name. You can specify a slug. If you don't, it'll automatically be generated by the title in a kind of similar fashion to post titles and post slugs. It will just strip out any spaces and special characters and replace these spaces with dashes. So you can see over here, new category is the name, and the slug was automatically generated as new dash category. And you can also designate the parent-child relationship as well. So if I wanted to make a new category, have it be a subcategory to something else, I can designate that here. And most of these will have different descriptions underneath them. So if you wanted to know, oh, what do they mean by slug again? It's going to be nice and tell you a little bit about that right there. And then we also have description. Most themes really don't do anything with descriptions. It's more for the back end for you, and it actually says that right here. It says the description is not prominent by default. However, some themes may show it. Sometimes this can be just a quick reminder for you about what this category is about. And then when you hit add new category, it's going to add it here. And we do have some of those same bulk actions. So you'll notice I have checkboxes next to these. I could select a couple. I could do the bulk option of deleting or individually edit or quick edit, one of those if I wanted. Another thing you can do from this page is view posts only associated with that category. So technically you could do that from the all post page just by coming over here and narrowing it down this way through one of these filters. But you can also do it on the categories page by clicking on categories. And then over here on the right, next to the slug column, is the post column, and it'll give you a number of how many different posts are in that category. But what you may not notice is that this is also a link. So if I click on this link, it's going to only show me posts associated with that category. And then over here, we also have a designated page for tags. This is almost the exact same as categories. You can add a new tag, give it a slug, give it a description. The only thing that's different is there is no parent-child relationship with tags, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you have the name, description, slug, and the number of posts, and then actually a link to the different posts with that tag as well. So that's it for the posts video and this quick overview of the different things you can do. Hope it's been really informational for you, and please feel free to go ahead and like the video. And one last thing to note, back when I showed you that add new page, and I told you that WordPress did an auto draft for me. If you actually come back here to the all post page, you can see that auto draft, and it automatically saved it for me. If I wanted to come back and work on this, you know, all that hard work I put in won't be lost. So that's good. Another thing that will show up on this all post page as well, if your site does have more than one user and you're currently editing the website at the same time, if you come back here and someone else is editing a post, it'll have a little lock icon and say so-and-so, user so-and-so is currently editing the post. And if you want, you can technically take over, but what this does is by default, it locks you out from accidentally, making changes. So two people can't work on the same thing and somebody's work ends up getting lost. Maybe in the future, this will be more like a Google Doc where two people can work on the same document at the same time, but that hasn't happened yet. So keep an eye out for that. We'll go ahead and hopefully you'll be back for our next video, which will be on the media library. We also will do one on pages. So look forward to you seeing one of those. Thanks a lot.